Thank you, Jessica. I think you have an opinion there. We asked the spoken word artists to perform one more poem each. So, Sam, do you have a second one for us? Yes. All right, come on up.
Oh, how do I turn this down a little bit? Thank you.
You got it?
Yeah.
Where you want it?
All right. This one's a bit shorter than the first one I did, but yeah, it's called Incomplete. I feel like the crappy story you tried to write in 7th grade and never looked at again, with undeveloped characters and an undeveloped plotline. I feel like the book you picked up some months ago, read 2 chapters, and called it a day. I feel like the project you began but never felt like completing, and the brilliant idea you forgot to write down. I feel like the birthday you forgot to put in the calendar, the grandma you never called back, the pen pal you always forget to write, the library book you always forget to return. Something about the name Sam seems so bleak to me, like it belongs to more than the name Samantha or what's written on my birth certificate. I feel like there must be more to me that is unwritten somewhere in my mother's heart or my father's brain, something about me that they forgot to mention or write down or keep track of. My doctor wanted me to go to a gifted school, and Gerber Baby wanted me as their poster child. All my grandmother's friends wanted to take me out with them, and because of my pristine behavior and tight-shut mouth, it was written in the stars in every book in the world that I would be perfect one day. My teachers loved to brag about my above-average GPA, clean behavior record, and the way my eyes shone like I'd struck gold every time I opened a new book. But when I first entered the walls of my machine-controlled high school, the idea of my perfect plastered future seemed to disappear. I was surrounded by robots with the stories of their lives etched in their skin like a drunken tattoo, just like mine used to be. School became a competition, and reading a book became a grudging task that I could not seem to bear. Everything I did from the moment I entered high school seemed to be unfinished, unwritten, unrecorded, unimportant, unworthy of anyone's time. And I just wish my doctor had found a way to warn my mother that one day, after realizing the world was not so nice and perfect, that I would become the unfinished story hidden deep in a folder in your laptop called 7th grade Do Not Open. That I would become an outcast in a world where you're either remedial, average, AP, or in jail. I wish the teachers told my mother that one day I'd never feel like reading a book again after being forced to so many times, and depression would gnaw away at my willingness to do homework, and I would have no idea what I'm writing or trying to say, and I just wish they told my mother that there would be no way that she could fix it. No way to cure a girl whose story had been taken away from her by other human beings wishing to fulfill their own, and that she'd be left incomplete. Thank you.
Okay, Amber?
Hey, this one isn't, I don't really have it off book completely, so I'm just going to have my phone here if it unlocks, just in case I forget. Sorry. Okay. This one's also untitled, like the last one. What if we used our belly buttons as flower pots? Would the roots grow inside of us through our organs and out our feet? Would they ground us back to the grounds our ancestors once knew? Are we afraid of the unknown life forms growing inside of us? What if we used our breath as a universal language, listening ever so carefully to the sudden, unsteady rhythms of each other? Are we truly listening? What if we used our hands as keys to open the gates that have remained forever enclosed in each other's minds? Would it hurt to twist and turn the rusted promise chambers locked within one's soul? Are we afraid of pain? What if we used our ears to break the silence, hearing not just sound, but the fear, the triumph, the joy, and the smiles? What if we heard our potential bouncing continuously throughout our trials? Are we too focused on the sound to listen to the silence? What if we used our bodies as ladders to reach our souls up into the sky and to take what is rightfully ours? Would we feel empowered when we hear our futures calling? Or tell me, are we just afraid of falling? Well, now is not the time to be afraid. Now is not the time to ignore or misunderstand. Now is the time to take a chance, to say what we really want to say, because when will we ever get another chance anyway? Poets, now is the time to embrace the unknown life forms growing inside of us all, growing up our spines, through our arms, itching at our fingertips. Hear them say, right. Poets, now is the time to reach for your potential, to not care about the consequences, because the universe is ours. And if the universe decides to make you an ocean, just keep reaching no matter how many times you get pulled back again. Reach your soul up into the sky and take what is rightfully yours, because you have the potential to be a tsunami and destroy everything that everyone has ever said about you. Poet, choose. Now is your time. It's time to turn your I can'ts into I cans and your long-lost dreams into long-awaited plans soon to be fulfilled. Poet, now is your time to get so fired up you have so many things to say but you don't know where to start. Poet, just write as if your life depended on it. Poet, write because if you ever thought maybe it does. Poet, write even when the words don't make sense right anyway. You'll find a way to make amends. Find your voice between the thin blue lines of your notebook paper. Find yourself within your words. Who cares about these lights or these stage? Poets, just write, because when we die, we shine. We are the stars that make up our own universe, extending our souls to one another, and I'm here to say, if you fall, I will catch you. So poet, do not be afraid. Do not ignore or misunderstand. Poets, just take a chance. Thank you.
Nice job, Amber. Very good. I'm amazed you can read off your phone because my script here is like 40 pages long because it's in like 60-point type, so I can see it. Our last spoken word artist is Jessica. Jessica, come on up.
Like Amber, I also do not have this poem completely off book, so I will be reading from my notebook. And this poem does not have a title yet. When my sister told me that she thought she was fat, my eyes widened in surprise, and I thought that I had misheard her because I couldn't believe what she was saying. At the time, my sister was in junior high, a girl who struggled at math but was eager to learn, a girl who loved to sing and dance like every day was some sort of celebration, and a girl who wasn't afraid to experience new things because she realized that the only way to succeed was to put herself out there and try her best. When my sister told me that she thought she was fat, I remember staring in shock at her tiny size 0 waist, a waist that was like a waning crescent moon, so delicate and paper thin. How could the girl that stood before me with the skinniest of limbs feel like her weight was some kind of sin? It almost felt surreal to hear that she was ashamed and full of self-hate because of the way her body was shaped. And as her older sister, the one who grew up beside her, I felt like a failure. Why did I not stop to tell her that waist size doesn't matter? Why didn't I warn her about the media's lies, about how they mold and twist the idea of beauty until it's all an illusion? Society takes perfectly gorgeous women and distorts them and photoshops them, physically moving their bones and accentuating their waists until an unattainable standard is created. The covers of magazines are adorned with tips and tricks on how to lose weight until the brightly colored letters are burned into the backs of our minds and we're brainwashed into thinking that we're never good enough. When we're little, we're pushed into this world where girls are told to look a certain way. We silently watch as our mothers plan out each meal. Skip breakfast, salad for lunch, and minuscule portion sizes for dinner. And when we're older, we take on the tradition of constantly counting calories because that's what we grew up learning to do. Appearances have become some kind of obsession, and when we look in the mirror, we only see magnified imperfections. We unhealthily compare ourselves to others, thinking that if we just change one more thing about ourselves, that we'll be that much closer to looking beautiful.
The concept of how we look plagues our thoughts, and we turn it over and over and over again until we're so enamored with it that we lose sight of what truly matters. After all, your mind is heavier than your weight. I have been pressured into this horrific game of give and take, and now my younger sister has too. The happy-go-lucky girl who's got the world at her fingertips is stripped of her innocence because society implants in our brains that we have to lose weight. So the next time my sister comes to me and says that she thinks she's fat, I will take her in my arms and tell her that appearance doesn't matter and that you are worth so much more than your weight. Thank you.